Don't mind the fact that I was in my underwear. My quads kind of chicked when I was running on the treadmill. So, you want to learn how to train shoulders, huh? Well, the first thing you need to realize is that there are 3 segments of the shoulder: the front delt, mid delt, and rear delt. There are different exercises for each head of the shoulder, each part of the shoulder, and strategies for each part are different. So listen closely. First off, for your front delts, you don't need to be doing any isolated front delt work unless you're actually just like you've never hit chest in your life. Then maybe you'll need something, but trust me, bro, you're never ever gonna need to spend time, 20 minutes, 30 minutes fucking training your front delts. You know why? Because all the chest exercises you're doing, your bench press, your incline bench press, chest press, cable flies, all that stuff is contributing to your front delts. Your chest and your front delts are very hand in hand. They're like fucking fingers crossed, bro. They're very close together. So, front delt work, it's not gonna happen. The only exercise that I suggest you do if you wanna get a little front delt action and even a little trap action, overhead press with the bar. On the overhead press, you're gonna wanna make sure that your hands are equally apart, that your glutes are clutched like a fucking Valorant 1v1. Your cheeks are fucking clutched, bro, because that helps support your lumbar. And you want to make sure that you deeply inhale at the bottom of the rep and exhale, explode up. Making sure that you're bracing your core. You can wear a belt if the weight is a little too heavy, and wrist wraps as well in case your wrists get a little broken. Moving on to the mid delt. The mid delt is the muscle that really gives that roundness feeling to them. Those round shoulders, bro. That's that mid delt. Your mid delt, the secret is so simple. Lateral raises. Now you could use dumbbell, you could use a machine for lateral raises, but me personally, I use the cable machine. Personally, I get one of those thingy-mabobs that wrap around your wrist, like a little wrist wrap kinda, but it attaches to the cable machine. I like to use that one because it really helps me feel the contraction on the way down. The idea is that you're gonna do a standard lateral raise, but you're gonna make sure your path is completely straight. You can literally look down and see that the range of motion, your little path to power here, from the top of the rep to the bottom of the rep, it's gonna be almost a straight line. You're gonna wanna make sure that's key. Your hand is also going to stay the same the entire time, like this. Imagine that this is the cable machine I got here. See how my hand is gripped like this, nice like this? You're starting all the way stretched. The stretch is a very important part, so make sure you're kind of a few steps away from the cable machine. Your hand is going to stay in the same position the entire time. So, all the way up, all the way down. None of this, none of this, none of fucking this, whatever you want to call that. Your hand is going to stay in the same position the entire time. You could even think about like you're gripping onto like a tennis ball or something. You want to squeeze that hand, keep it in the same position, a straight line, just completely straight. And that's how you do that exercise. Typically with the mid delt, I usually go for the heavier side of things. This would be because it's pretty damn hard to reach failure, especially on like any kind of lateral raise, just because there's so many potential forces of momentum. Like you could be unintentionally using your back to get it up, using your fucking bicep to get it up, using your fucking, I don't know, maybe you somehow use your legs to get it up. The point is, your body can unintentionally use a shitload of momentum to help you get more reps in, and after fucking like 15, 20 reps, you're like, okay, maybe this isn't working. So by using lower reps, it forces you to kind of hunker down on form more, especially on the cable machines like I fucking said. But it forces you to make sure that more or less, the shoulder is the one that's really contracting here. Now, you could theoretically... My camera died, so I don't quite remember what I was saying. I guess I didn't charge it enough at the start of or before the video. But I was saying something about, yes, theoretically, you could use momentum to get more reps with a heavy weight, but it'd be much more noticeable to you that you're using other muscles to get that weight up than as compared if you were just using a lighter weight. Honing in on isolating the mid-delt is so important. You want to really make sure you're harnessing on mind-muscle connection. So even just a little tappy tap while you're doing the reps. Really make sure you're feeling that those delts are contracting. That's gonna be key, bro. Because otherwise, you're just gonna be fucking bopping 10, 15, 20 reps and feeling like, man, I didn't feel a goddamn thing. So yes, more so lower reps. I would say more like 6 to 8 is the perfect range for me. You wanna do around 4 sets on each arm. I like to stick it one arm at a time because it's pretty hard to focus on 2 arms at the same time, especially for lateral raises. It's already hard enough to isolate the mid-delt, and when you have to focus on 2 different arms, then it becomes almost impossible. So I personally just do 1 arm at a time, alternating back and forth. 4 sets, 6 to 8 reps, and then after your last set, you're gonna do multiple drop sets, or just as many drop sets as you possibly could do. You're going to try and maximize failure. You wanna feel like your fucking shoulder is about to fall off. Your traps are gonna get a little involved in the mix too, just because your traps are literally right next to your mid-delt. So you're gonna feel a little bit of trap activation as well. That's perfectly fine. Builds traps as well if you want to consider that a partially trap exercise. That's whatever. And that's pretty much all that I've personally been doing for my mid-delts. Now you have to consider that also I'm pretty sure that I have pretty good shoulder genetics. My shoulders have naturally always been one of my more stronger parts. We could keep this in mind, but if you have really fucking shit shoulder genetics, then do the exercise I just suggested. And on top of that, do another form of lateral raises. Maybe with the machine, the fucking lateral raise machine. Dumbbells, standing dumbbell lateral raises. Making sure you're minimizing the amount of momentum you get. Just really try and burn out those shoulders. They aren't a big muscle, so it's not gonna be like you need to completely bully them like you would with your legs, but they're still a pain in the ass to grow. Now, we're at the rear delt. Your rear delt, which people neglect this muscle even more than they do the fucking mid delt. Your rear delt, the strategy here is nice eccentric controlled reps. What I personally do is cable, goddamn, I gotta burp a lot. Cable crossovers. Basically, you grab one end, you grab the other, your arms are crossed. Then take a few feet back, and you're gonna pull. You're gonna make sure you're pulling like this. Like if I have a towel and I'm trying to pull it apart, like that. Pull. You have that rear delt activation back here. Make sure the cables on each side are set as high as they possibly can, just to really maximize the stretch of your rear delts. But you'll do these reps and you're gonna control it on the way back, really maximizing the stretch that you feel, because that stretch is very important for growth. Slow and eccentric controlled reps, doing these cable crossovers. Rep range is gonna stick in the 8 to 10 ballpark for about 4 sets again, because you wanna make sure that you're really burning your shoulder out. It's the same concept as the mid delt. The rear delt needs just as much, maybe even more stimulus than your mid delt. Your rear delt is like the back end of a tire, bro. Your front and mid delt are gonna blow up a bit easier, but that rear delt is like the flat end. It's gonna be a lot harder to stimulate it. So it's mad important that we really burn the hell out of our rear delts. You're doing multiple drop sets, of course, as before. I typically stick to 2 drop sets, making sure I'm really pumping everything into this. Burning myself out, not even able to like fully extend anymore. And then, to really finish it off on your last drop set, you're gonna take the cables, you're gonna take a few steps back, So that way the cables are right here. You're really, really, really inclined. You're in a very inclined position. You're gonna be like this. I learned this from Jesse James West, so shout out to bro. But you're going to turn it into a sort of face pull, pretty much. So instead of the little rope you have, it's the cables instead. You're gonna take it, instead of going like this, you're gonna take it and you're gonna pull. You're gonna pull the cables over your head completely. So you're already inclined, just gonna pull. And you're gonna keep doing this until you reach failure. It is okay to swing a little bit on this one because we're really trying to maximize failure here. There's mechanical failure and there's total failure. Mechanical failure is when you can't do a perfect rep anymore, when you can't do a proper rep anymore. So like let's say on your lat pull down, you're keeping that form good, but once everything starts going to shit and you start swinging, you start pulling back, you start swinging to get those reps in, you're past mechanical failure because you can't do a proper rep anymore. We want to go for that concept for these face pulls. So you're going to keep doing as many proper reps as you can, feeling the burn in those rear delts, swinging a little bit if you have to, until it hurts like a hell of a lot, and then you're done. You're gonna wanna make sure that you're training your rear delts multiple times a week. So just like my calves, I usually include maybe a rear delt exercise or a calf exercise every now and then on my other days, like my push days, my leg days, that stuff. Because they need constant stimulus. They're a pain in the ass to grow, hence why not many people have big rear delts or calves. So harnessing on that stimulus, keeping them active all the time is very important. Don't worry about them being constantly sore because your rear delts are one of the lesser involved muscle groups. You're not gonna really need it to hit a bench press, to hit a shoulder press, a deadlift, a squat, all of that. Your rear delts are one of the more useless muscles, just like your calves. You could compare your rear delts and calves, they're in the same boat pretty much. And that's how you train shoulders. I touched on traps a little bit. I see you, bro. Looking for some trap action. I'm not exactly sure why you asked me for trap knowledge, but I appreciate the compliment nonetheless. My traps, personally, I don't train my traps that often, but I do have the knowledge of how to train them. I don't train them often, but I know what I'm doing. So let's start right off the bat. It's very, very important that you make sure that your neck is nice and loose before you start doing your trap exercises. Typically, neck stretch I typically do, just constantly rotating your head clockwise, counterclockwise. Really trying to loosen up your neck. Making sure your neck is nice and limber. The reason for this is because since you're squeezing your traps to obviously contract them, to work them, your neck is getting squished together pretty much. And if your neck is a little too tight, or your this upper area is a little more tight than you want it to be, you're gonna wake up the next day and your neck it's gonna hurt to fucking turn your neck, because the muscles in your neck have become tense. They've become a little sore, but they're more so just tight. Like if you've ever slept wrong and you wake up and you can't turn your neck a certain way, kind of the same concept. So you want to make sure your neck is very nice and loose before you start training your traps. In my humble personal opinion, when it comes to training your traps, you already know the move. Shrugs. Shrugs are the key to success in training your traps. Now, in my humble personal opinion and with experience, I've noticed that I get a much better contraction when I use dumbbells over the bar. With those dumbbells, when you're shrugging, you're capable of twisting your arms. Twisting your arms is a pretty key part of the shrug. It helps maximize the stretch at the bottom, and being able to twist at the top puts your traps into a more vulnerable position, we'll say. More vulnerable to stimulus. Rep range is going to be pretty low for this. As with the shoulder exercises, we're sticking in the 6 to 8 or 8 to 10 ballpark. Because if you go too low, not enough stimulus. If you go too high, not enough stimulus. Doing too many reps with this, your form is going to waver. You're gonna start getting tired after that 10 rep ballpark. Just because doing shrugs themselves is a very endurance-based exercise. It takes a lot to get everything working together like a well-oiled machine to do shrugs, contract them properly, make sure the form is tight the entire time. It's a pain in the ass past the 10 rep mark, so I highly recommend 6 to 8, 8 to 10. That is my preference, personally. Now, with form, you can take your 2 dumbbells. Dumbbells are gonna start nice and straight on, nice and straight, so that way the traps are as stretched as they possibly can be, and you're just gonna shrug. But when you shrug, you're gonna bring your wrists inward a little bit, inward just a bit at the top, so that when you reach the top, a wholesome, tight contraction. Starting straight on, twisting a little bit at the top. Got a good ass contraction. See that? Good ass contraction. For each rep, bro, make sure that you're squeezing at the top. Squeeze for like maybe a second and a half, something like that. You're not gonna just hold it there for like 3 seconds. That's too long. We're trying to balance stimulus and failure here. We're trying to collide them together to make the perfect set. So, pause at the top for like a second and a half, and go all the way back down. Your hands are gonna go all the way back to being straight on, just so that way those traps are completely stretched at the bottom. The stretch, as I said before, is the most important part. Having your traps completely stretched at the bottom, that doesn't mean you have to fucking lean over to really maximize it, but just as stretched as they can be, that's the goal. I'll just do a few practice reps to demonstrate. So we start with them completely stretched. Like so. Notice that I'm going down slowly. I'm not just gonna fucking none of that, bro. A nice controlled descent to a perfect stretch. Whenever you're using heavier weights to reach the quota, the 6 to 8 reps, 8 to 10, you may want to use like wrist straps that you'd use for deadlifting if need be. You got the strap, you got the dumbbell, you're gonna wrap it underhand, okay? Never over the dumbbell, always under. So you got it nice and wrapped around the dumbbell. That way, whenever you're going for these heavier weights, your wrist isn't gonna give out before your traps do. That's usually a problem a lot of people come across, is that their forearms will burn out from holding the weight before their traps do. And that negatively impacts the stimulus for your traps. That gives them blue balls. You don't want that. Oh, perfect throw, my bad. So yeah, using straps when the weights are too heavy. Very good, highly recommended. We're still keeping it 4 sets because we really want that fucking failure, bro. We wanna burn those bad boys out. And as you already guessed, drop sets. Now, typically I would stick to just 1 drop set, just so that way you can really hone on form and you don't like mentally gas yourself out completely. If you want to be a fucking maniacal weirdo and do 2 drop sets, go ahead, bro. If you feel like you want to take that, then go on ahead, bro. I personally just do 1 drop set, dropping the pounds by probably 10 to 15 pounds is probably the recommended drop set I'd do. So if I had a 60 pounds on each hand, drop it by 10 pounds, that's 50, or 15 pounds, that's 45. And on your drop sets, same process. You're gonna try and keep the form as perfect as possible. Unlike the rear delt exercises where you wanna reach true failure, this one, you wanna keep it to mechanical failure. You wanna keep your form as perfect as you can the entire time. Because if you start swinging, that's not doing anything for you. You wanna keep it mechanical the entire time, maximizing the stretch at the bottom, the contraction at the top. I hope that was what you're looking for. I hope that helps you get juicy boulder shoulders and traps. I guess now, I just want to chat for a minute. As of right now, 3 weeks in, a whole month, sorry guys, I'm doing pretty, I'm like 90% now. I can breathe, I don't have that clavicle pain anymore like I did before, but I still have like bruising, like on this left side, right here specifically, I still feel like a bruising sensation. So I'm pretty sure the muscles that are, you know, that got torn, that strained, they're not completely well and done yet. Like if I lay on my left side and when I'm in bed, it's just, I can feel the pain of my ribs being pressed against something. That's the only bad thing that's left. So not completely back to like deadlifting, but I can in fact now squat. We're shaking off the rust a little bit right now, just trying to get back into it. Still pretty strong, but we've lost a few things, obviously. Soon enough, I'll be able to do a nice wholesome deadlift session or something like that. But yeah, right now, about 90% healed. It's really unlucky, guys. Definitely hasn't been the easiest month. Just been busy with like work. And then my fucking injury, healing, all that stuff. It's been a real pain in the ass, honestly. Not a fan, would not recommend, 0 out of 10. I'm definitely making my return now. This is by far my longest break from social media completely. Even like Instagram, it hasn't been a month since I posted. But I keep saying I'm gonna do it. But I think I just have this like anxiety a little bit. Just a little bit of stress that like, oh fuck, I haven't posted in so long. And I fucking stress over that and then I don't post. Like a dummy. Part of it's because I wasn't exactly the biggest I'd been after pretty much being stuck to a chair for like a week and a half. Wasn't exactly crazy motivated. But I think the bad time's over. The dark ages have ended. Hope you guys enjoyed that gaming video. If you're watching this in chronological order, these videos are in chronological order, by the way. First one happened first, second one happened second, this one's happening last. Straight up, bro. Expect a new video or two within the next week, 5 days, maybe, if I really get on my grind, bro. I swear to God, bro, this consistency, it's gonna get up. It's gonna get up, bro. It's gonna happen. I'm tired of being a little fucking soy boy, bro. It's time to fucking hunker down and grind out some content, bro. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for sticking around. I know you already forgot about me, but I'm back. Just like the dad with milk, I have returned. You're famous now? What? It's been 20 years already. Impossible. Anyways, guys, I'll be seeing you soon. Okay? Bye-bye.